Hey people, how's it going? Welcome to another video. Welcome to part 4 of my top 50 albums of all time. We've done parts 1, 2, and 3, obviously, over the last few weeks. Today is number 4, which means we are tackling albums 20 to 11. So we got this one, and then we got the top 10 next Friday, so that'll be exciting. This is, if you haven't seen my others, please go look at them. They're good fun. But if you have and you're eagerly awaiting the next one, welcome. You're probably going to start seeing some double ups in terms of like artists and whatnot. For me to name 50 artists, 50 albums by 50 different artists, to me that's just too hard. I don't think I listen to enough music to do that. So yeah, this is where we start to see some of the bigger bands pop up with not several albums, but 2 or 3 of the same artists. So yeah, let me know down below what your top 10 are, if you can do it off the top of your head, if you're that way inclined. But however, I'm super excited to get into this, so let's just do it. Coming in strong with number 20, which is none other than is it the comeback album? I don't know, it's more like a revival album for the band, and that is 1980s Black Sabbath with Heaven and Hell. This is the first album to feature Ronnie James Dio of a duo set of LPs for the band at the time. This one and Mob Rules from 1981. However, this one is absolutely phenomenal. If you're a fan of Dio, if you're a fan of Rainbow, and you haven't heard Sabbath, Past, Paranoid, and whatnot, please go listen to this one. It's absolutely fantastic. I ranked all of Sabbath's albums a little while ago. Obviously, this one was number 1, hence why it's number 11 in the number 20. Sorry, in the greatest of all time list. It's a great it's more upbeat, you could say. It's a bit more of a Saturday night Black Sabbath album, what I call them anyway. Neon Nights is the opening song, and it's just a 4.5 minute, you could say, single. It's pretty damn awesome. Children of the Sea, track 2, and there's a ballad on it already. I can think of a few albums that do that. Pretty odd, but it works. Lady Evil, that's a great song. That one's fun. Obviously the title track, Heaven and Hell, with the pounding bass line through it and the steady drum beat throughout the whole thing. Honestly, so good. Apart from the second half where it picks up and goes it gets a bit faster, more fun. Side 2, Wishing Well, rather, and Die Young. Die Young is probably my favorite song on this little album. It's so energetic and fast-paced, and it's just catchy and bouncy. It's such a good time. And Walk Away and Lonely is the word. They're great as well. But yeah, like I said, if you haven't heard anything past the likes of Master Reality and haven't delved into Sabbath once Ozzy left, please go check out Black Sabbath's Heaven and Hell. You will not be disappointed. So yeah, I love this album so much. That's number 20, Heaven and Hell. Number 19 is some folk metal, and it is my favorite Interferum album, and that is Victory Songs from 2007. This album is just glorious. I remember first listening to Interferum about a decade ago. I think 2014 is when I found them, and the title track, Victory Songs, it just blew me away. At that point in time, I hadn't heard folk metal before. I don't think I had, not to this extent anyway. And I was just like, holy God, there's this massive 10-minute song that has aggressive verses, clean vocals for the chorus, real catchy folky melodies. It's just a build-up song. It's so good. The epic section in the middle where they change the language, it's honestly that blew me away when I think that was my first taste of like Nordic folky Viking type music. It was so much fun. But aside from that, Blood is the Price of Glory, fantastic stuff. Deathbringer from the Sky, those damn chords, oh, fantastic. One More Magic Potion rather, is much more of a fast-paced one. That one's fun. Wanderer is great. That's like, you could say it's the ballad, but it's more simple, it's more steady galloped, rather than dun-dun-dun-dun. It's awesome. Raised by the Sword, which goes the complete opposite of Wanderer. It's just like a 3-minute song of just fast-paced blast beats. It's great. New Dawn and yeah, Victory Song. It's a fantastic album. If you like folk metal, if you like aggressive folk metal, please go check out Interferum, but especially check out this album, Victory Songs. It's goddamn good. That's number 19. And here's the first repeat. Number 18 is the Black Sabbath debut. What 50 list is complete without this epic album? Like, every list in the world should have this. Just maybe not as your favorite, but like just as a sign of appreciation. None of this would be a thing without this absolute masterpiece of an album. Yeah, it's you could say it's a bit questionable in terms of is it really heavy metal considering what it is today, but the absolute answer is yes. Like I just said, heavy metal wouldn't be around a thing without this absolute beast of an album. The title track, the band name, and the album name, obviously, Black Sabbath, just I don't need to talk about it because you know how it goes. The rain, the thunder, the bells, the chords, the riffing, the vocals, the haunting vocals in that song is just amazing. The Wizard harmonica has entered the album. Weird what do you call it? Weird approach, but it works because it's the only instrument Ozzy, I think, can play properly, I think. Behind the Wall of Sleep, yeah, I do like that one. That's fun. NIB, great riff. I remember hearing that fucking 15 years ago and thinking, what is this? And then the second half of the album is more or less like a jam session. You have Evil Woman, which is a cover and it's a standalone song. That's cool. But then you get like Sleeping Village and Warning, which kind of like blend together, and it's like, yeah, a live jam session between the band, because that's how they did their gigs half the time. Half their songs on later albums, I'm pretty sure War Pigs was the result of them jamming, like having a jam session on stage during their shows, and they came out with an epic song like that. That's just great. But yeah, I probably don't need to say, make sure you check this album out. But if you're new to metal and you're wondering where the roots of it began, it's right here. Black Sabbath, February 13, 1970 is where it all kicked off for everyone. So yeah, that's number 18, Black Sabbath. Number 17, I've just noticed we're kind of going backwards and forwards between singers here. Number 17 is Rainbow Rising. If you have heard Heaven and Hell and you do like that album, I highly recommend you go listen to Rainbow, which is Dio's band before Sabbath, and before Dio. But after Elf, I think, was Elf was before this, like 1973 to 72, I think. But anyway, this album, I've done, I think, 3 videos where I talk about this album, like, on its own. I did a What Makes This Album Great. I did my favorite album of 1976, and I can't remember the other one at the moment. Maybe I only did 2. But yeah, this album is just wow. It's literally 5-6 songs, goes for a span of like half an hour, but holy damn, it's an absolute monster piece. I bought this for like $30 brand new at the shop, and right next to it, or behind it rather, was a colored version of it. This is just a black vinyl, but behind it was a colored one. I think it was purple, and they wanted like $65 for it. And I was like, you know what? No, I'm fine with black. I've completed my rainbow. But yeah, half an hour of just pure epic power metal roots. Honestly, if you're wondering where power metal comes from, it's pretty much Dio. He pretty much did the whole thing. Look at the album cover, for God's sake. Look at the album name. Tarot Woman is an absolute fantastic opening song. I think that's so fun. What really hit me was the damn key change at the end. That was great. Run with the Wolf, you could say that kind of mirrors Children of the Sea, but from Heaven and Hell, but Run with the Wolf is a bit more faster and upbeat. Starstruck is fun. Do You Close Your Eyes? That's great too. However, the magic really comes from side 2 of this little beast. It's insane. Stargazer, which is an 8.5 minute song, I think, 8 minutes of just absolute pure perfection musicianship. It's honestly amazing. Everything from the drum intro to the pounding chorus to Richie Blackmore's monster guitar solo to just the absolute drawn out powerful ending. I can only just imagine what it must have been like in the studio, like listening to the album while it was recorded and being like, yeah, that was pretty good. And then A Light in the Black, the last song, is pretty much the same thing. It's just like another 8.5 minute song of just the band being full-blown speed. It's just mad. Like, everyone performs absolutely amazing on this thing. You've got Dio on the vocals, you've got Richie Blackmore on the guitar, you have got Cozy Powell on the drums. I'm not entirely sure who's on the keyboards here. Who we got? We've got Tony Carey on the keyboards and Jimmy Bain on the bass. So yeah, it's an all-round masked supergroup, you could say. But yeah, honestly, if you haven't checked this album out, please go ahead and do it. You will not be disappointed. But if you don't want to listen to the whole thing, you only want one song, do Stargazer. You will not be disappointed, man. That is number 17, I think, Rising. Finally, something different, well, in terms of artists. Number 16 is Dawn of Victory from Rhapsody. This came out in the year 2000, and this is deemed like one of the best power metal albums ever, and I wholeheartedly agree. I remember listening to Rhapsody when I when I first discovered the likes of symphonic and theatrical metal, and that was just absolutely mind blowing. I was a massive power metal fan. I just thought everything about it was great. So when I heard bands like Rhapsody, I just couldn't believe what was going on. This album, Dawn of Victory, is just absolutely like beyond phenomenal. It's an 8, it's a 10 out of 10 album. Like everything from the Lux Triumphant intro to the title track, Dawn of Victory, to Triumph for My Magic Steel and The Village of Dwarves and Holy Thunder Force and just everything about it. Mighty Rage of the Tyrant or whatever it's called. Is that what it's called? No, I'm getting confused with Pride of the Tyrant from the other album. Anyway, it's a fantastic album and it's just insane. Fabio's vocals on this one are just beyond phenomenal. Luca Tullili's guitar playing, like any neoclassical shredder, is just phenomenal. It just blew me away of how fast and how intricate he was going. The drums is just, power metal drums, but the symphony behind it, the orchestration, it was just absolutely, it was amazing. It still blows me away today. And it's a very great, highly motivational album. If you need stuff done quickly, like, listen to this album. I've climbed mountains listening to Rhapsody and it's made it so easy. So honestly, it's just a fantastic album. I keep saying it. This is part 3 of their 5-album saga story that they tell. If you're aware of Rhapsody, you know how that goes. But yeah, honestly, it's just so damn good. If you haven't heard the best power metal album of all time, I highly recommend you go check out The Dawn of Victory. It's absolutely amazing. That's number 16, Rhapsody, Dawn of Victory. Complete opposite of power metal, we get number 15, which is black metal, Mayhem's debut album, De Mysteriis Dom Satanis. Again, what metal list is complete without an album like this? This is the album that blew black metal up for the second time. Real, proper, true, cold, cult black metal. Like, this album came out in 1994, so it celebrates 30 years this year, which is mad to believe, considering Mayhem's story is a lot more famous than Mayhem's music, you could say. A lot of people listen to this album, and then very few carry on. And, I don't want to say it, but, like, half of their music doesn't add up to the likes of what this is. However, there are some good ones. I ranked Mayhem not too long ago, and I put this one at number 3. So there are some good albums, but they've only got like six studio albums and a couple of EPs and whatnot. But yeah, anyway, this is cold. This is just traditional Norwegian black metal. It's perfect. It's a bit untraditional in terms of like what you expect from black metal. It's not so much the ring wraith cold singing. It's more droned out. It's very dramatic and it's very different. So if you listen to normal black metal like Darkthrone, Gorgoroth, all that stuff, this album kind of comes out and just, while the riffs are chilly and freaky, you get the vocals and it just, it's different, but it kind of fits the tone for what De Mysteriis is. When you hear a song like Freezing Moon and it's just like, everything is so cold, he sounds like he's all shriveled up and whatnot. So it's a perfect blend. But yeah, it's just a bit of it takes you back when you first hear it, because you're like, oh, is that what black metal is? But yeah, this album came out after Euronymous was already dead and Varg was already in prison. So yeah, it's fantastic. It's historic and it needs to be listened to. So that's number 15, De Mysteriis Dom Satanis from Mayhem. Number 14, we get thrash metal, Megadeth's Peace Sells, But Who's Buying? This is my favorite Megadeth album. This one dates back to when I was playing Vice City as a youngin', and Peace Sells, the title track, was on the rock station, and I just thought it was great, just real, head banging stuff. And but at that time, I was listening to it when I was like 12 or whatever, so I didn't really know what it was. I just thought when it came on the radio station, I was just like, oh yeah, this is cool. And then obviously we grew up a bit. 16, 17 is when I really got into thrash metal, and this is where I started to listen to Megadeth properly. And then I realized, wait a minute, I already know this song. And yeah, this one just has that special sweet spot for me. A lot of people would obviously pick Rust in Peace, and that's all good. But to me, it's Peace Sells that takes the cake. The opening song to this album, Wake Up Dead, is just top 5 Megadeth songs of all time. That one's just fantastic. I just love it's just a riff fest, that song. Like, the thing that kind of holds Megadeth back from being as big as Metallica probably is the fact that Dave Mustaine was always trying to one-up Metallica. So in order to do that, he came up with a few unorthodox things, songs that don't flow structurally, do you know what I mean? And the riffs that are all over the place and don't make any sense. And unfortunately, what I feel is like trying to do that made him have a very certain fan base. Do you get what I mean? Peace Sells, the song, great song. Conjuring is great. Devil's Island though, that's fun. Devil's Island, yeah. Good Morning Black Friday, they're great. You know, side 2 is awesome. I Am Superstitious and My Last Words. Honestly, it's a fun album, and I put it up here because it's a sweet spot for me. I know a lot of people don't put this at the number ones, but hey, if you haven't heard Peace Sells, go listen to it. It's a good time, especially Wake Up Dead and the title track. It's a great album. So yeah, that's number 5, whatever. That's Peace Sells. Go listen to it. Number 13 is a completely wild card, and it's pure nostalgic, and it's pure childhood, and it's pure British pop. And I'm talking about Robbie Williams' third album, Sing When You're Winning. This is I know, it's a wild card. But if you've watched my other, like parts 1 and 2, you'll see that there are a few non-metal releases in there. So here's one for this one. Robbie's Sing When You're Winning. This is the first album that I ever owned as a Christmas present. You know, I didn't buy this. I was 7 when this came out, so I obviously had no money. But this was the album that blew him up worldwide. This is the Rock DJ album, Better Man Supreme. Kids, you know, single wise, it is phenomenal. It's just 5 out of 5 singles on here that just took away the charts, honestly, way back then. And then like even all the B-sides on the second half of the album, they're great too. But like honestly, it's just a perfect pop album, and the reason it's up this high is because it's just got a special sweet spot for me. It's a pop album that I'll never get tired of. You know, Robbie's an artist that I never get tired of, full stop. But like, yeah, there's just always going to be something special about this album to me, no matter how metal I might be. So yeah, it's honestly perfect. Number 13, sorry. Sing When You're Winning. Sorry, I know I get mixed up with my numbers. This one's number 12. Metallica's Ride the Lightning. Yeah, this won't be the final Metallica album that we see in this series, but it is the final one that we see in this video. Again, like all us cool diehard metalheads, we don't need to say too much about these types of albums because we all know them and we all love them. But like I said, if you're new, Metallica's Ride the Lightning came out in 1984, so this one is 40 years old this year. Last year we celebrated Kill 'Em All being 40. This year we get Ride the Lightning. It's pretty much 7 out of 8 for me, obviously, with the song Escape. You know, that's probably the weakest one, but it's still good. You know, it's still listenable and it's still fun. But everything on here is just literally thrash banger after banger after banger. It's a bit more controlled than Kill 'Em All, but it's not as sophisticated as what came later. So yeah, Fight Fire with Fire, fantastic song. Just that awesome that crushing riff. Dun, 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 dun. Ride the Lightning, the title track, honestly so much fun. For Whom the Bell Tolls might just be one of the heaviest standard tuning songs ever. Honestly, so good. And Fade to Black, the ballad. I do often skip that one when it comes on, but you still can't deny that it's actually fantastic. Side 2, Trapped Under Ice, underrated song. I first heard that on Guitar Hero World Tour, and it's great. Trapped Under Ice. Yeah, like I just said, Escape was a filler song that they needed space for. It's good, but it doesn't come close to anything else on the album. Creeping Death is probably my favorite song from Ride the Lightning. It's honestly so good. And the instrumental Call of Cthulhu, really, really great stuff. If you, again, do I need to say it? If you haven't ventured back into Metallica's past, please go do yourself a favor and listen to these ones. Kill 'Em All, Ride the Lightning, and Puppets are just top three amazing thrash albums that everyone needs to talk about. So yeah, that's number 12, I think, Ride the Lightning. And then number 11, the last one for this entry, is Bathory's third album, Under the Sign of the Black Mark. This is my favorite Bathory album ever. This album is pretty much like, you could say Bathory's debut was obviously quite a influential black metal album, but this one just really perfected it. The debut was very raw and very rushed and put together, you could say. The Return, their second album, is still great, and I love that one too. But this one, just as a whole, was just everything about it was just scary and haunting, and just it wasn't so much thrashy anymore. It was definitely more black metal-ish musically as well. So that was just awesome. Nocturnal, I can't even say that word. I don't know. Nocturnal something Massacre is a great opener. It's amazing. Woman of Dark Desires, which is about Elizabeth Bathory herself. Finally, 3 albums in, and we're finally getting a song about Elizabeth Bathory. Call from the Grave, is probably the best song on here, and it's the scariest song on here, and it's just absolutely incredible. It's what every black metal band thinks they sound like. Honestly, God from the grave. It's just scary, and the lyrics are evil, and it's just frightening. Queen Thorn, that's a great song too. But yeah, Enter the Eternal Fire, Chariots of Fire, 13 Candles, and then the last song, Of Doom. So that ties into the album name, Under the Sign of the Black Mark and Of Doom. So honestly, it's just so good. If you haven't heard this album, please go ahead and do it. It's so fantastic. It might shock you in terms of like how crazy it is, but like it's 1987, I'm pretty sure, and it was really starting to, you know, turn into like a proper black metal scene now. We've left Venom and the debut behind. So yeah, that's number 11, Under the Sign of the Black Mark. Awesome as team, thank you so much for hanging out with me while I sit here and take you through 20 to 11 of my top 50 albums of all time. Like I said at the start, let me know down below what your top 10 are, if you can think of them off the top of your head. Hang out for next Friday will be the finale of 10 to 1. I'm super excited for that. I'm gonna have to start thinking of some new content now that we've run out of this series, so that's going to be fun. But like I said, hang out for that one. It's coming out next Friday. So until that happens, everybody, stay inside, stay safe, listen to metal, any kind of metal, and I will see you all in the next episode of this series. See you later.